Meghan Markle spent years shaping her image, peaking with a bombshell Oprah Winfrey interview in 2021. Now Americans are over her, and Netflix's scaled-back 2025 deal with her and Prince Harry shows how far she's fallen. And it all started with Oprah. Megxit undoubtedly caused a schism within the royal family, further inflaming critics of Meghan and Harry. Yet, believe it or not, their decision to step back from royal life was, on the whole, well received. In fact, more people in the UK were rooting for them than you might think. Polling by YouGov from early January 2020 found that 45% of Britons supported the move, 26% opposed it, and 29% were unsure. In the United States, the decision was even more popular. When YouGov ran the same poll in the US, 50% approved, only 7% opposed, and 43% were uncertain. It didn't take long, though, for some Americans to sour on Meghan and Harry after they officially moved to the US in June 2020. By February 2021, just weeks before their infamous Oprah interview, 29% of respondents in a YouGov poll said they had a very or somewhat unfavorable view of Meghan, while 23% said the same of Harry. That still meant that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were broadly liked in America, but signs of Meghan fatigue were starting to show. Anticipation was high leading up to Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah in March 2021, but just 5 days before it aired, the Times of London published leaked emails and other reports alleging that Meghan had been abusive to staff, claims that could cloud the way some viewers perceived her in the Oprah interview. The reporting bolstered one of the most damaging rumors about Meghan, that she was a bully. The Times cited an October 2018 email supposedly from Jason Nauf, then Meghan and Harry's communications secretary. The email was said to follow conversations with the head of human resources at Buckingham Palace. Nauf wrote, "I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The treatment was totally unacceptable. We have had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior." Nauf's concerns went nowhere. A source told The Times that Harry begged Nauf to drop the matter, something lawyers for the Duke and Duchess denied. Another source claimed, "The institution just protected Meghan constantly. All the men in gray suits who she hates have a lot to answer for because they did absolutely nothing to protect people." Oprah's interview with Meghan and Harry quickly became a worldwide event. More than 49 million people tuned in to the 2-hour special, most of them in the United Kingdom and the United States. The couple made several bombshell revelations, some of which were later disputed. They said they had married privately 3 days before their public wedding. They accused members of the royal family of making racist remarks about their unborn son's potential skin color.
What?
And
Who is having that conversation?
Meghan said she was blocked from getting help while struggling with her mental health. She denied making Princess Catherine cry, claiming the opposite happened at her wedding.
she was upset about something pertaining to, yes, the issue was correct, about flower girl dresses, and it made me cry.
Harry insisted he, not Meghan, had initiated Megxit, and added that his family barely speaks to him. Meghan also said she was stopped from leaving the palace and forced to hand over her passport. Bullying accusations that surfaced around the same time shifted how some viewers, especially in the UK, saw the interview, leading them to question her credibility. For others, it fueled criticism of the monarchy itself. After the special aired, "Abolish the Monarchy" trended on Twitter. Reactions to the interview differed greatly between US and UK audiences, revealing just how differently Meghan's image was perceived at the time. Her comments enraged the British press and dominated coverage. The day after the interview, 30 of the 31 top stories on the Daily Mail's homepage were negative pieces about Meghan and Harry. The Sun declared, "Meghan Markle may never return to Britain after angering royal family with bombshell Oprah interview." The Telegraph even compared the couple to Edward VIII and Wallis Simpson. Edward famously abdicated to be with Simpson, an American, and the two spent the rest of their lives in exile. British broadcaster Piers Morgan had a full-on meltdown over the Oprah interview on Good Morning Britain.
I don't believe a word she says, Meghan Markle.
Well, that's a
I wouldn't believe it if she read me a weather report.
The next day was even more explosive on Good Morning Britain when Morgan stormed off set during a heated argument. ITV soon announced that he and the network had parted ways. Meghan and Harry's criticism of the royal family badly damaged their reputation in the United Kingdom. Polling showed that for the first time, Harry was viewed unfavorably. Meanwhile, only 3 in 10 people polled by YouGov viewed Meghan positively, while 58% had an outright negative opinion of her. Many Americans, though, were still fascinated by the royal immigrants. A Snap YouGov poll after the Oprah interview found that 68% of U.S. citizens were sympathetic toward Meghan and Harry. The social listening platform Relative Insight analyzed 40,000 tweets from the week after the interview, revealing how much more empathetic U.S. viewers were compared with UK audiences. American social media users were far more likely to use words like brave and strong to describe Meghan and the interview. Her confession about declining mental health while living at the palace struck a chord with the U.S. media. Positive headlines poured in. Even the White House press secretary at the time, Jen Psaki, remarked, "For anyone to come forward and speak about their own struggles with mental health and to tell their personal story, that takes courage. That's certainly something President Biden believes." In the interview, Meghan presented herself as a misunderstood, victimized woman who, with the help of her Prince Charming, rose above her challenges and is now thriving with a new lease on life. Many people, especially Americans, believed it. Others had doubts from the start. Journalists began digging into Meghan's statements to verify their accuracy. After some fact-checking, her version of events came under fire. For example, Meghan said in the interview that she'd only left her house twice in the last 4 months. This claim, along with another that she had to turn over her passport to royal aides, was quickly dismantled. Writing in The Telegraph, Camilla Tominey asked, "Could it really be true that she only left the house twice in 4 months when she managed to cram in 73 days worth of engagements in the 17 months between her wedding and the couple's departure to Canada?" Meghan's many public appearances also cast doubt on her claim that she had been silenced. Tominey further questioned how the Duchess had managed to undertake 4 foreign holidays in the 6 months after her wedding, in addition to official tours to Italy, Canada, and Amsterdam, as well as embarking on a lengthy honeymoon, if she had turned over her passport. Once a few of Meghan's claims from the Oprah interview were challenged, cracks began to form in her public image, and the dam was about to burst. Soon, several more of her accusations unraveled. For example, Meghan said that she and Harry were married by the Archbishop of Canterbury 3 days before their public wedding. The Archbishop, however, denied that he had legally married them. She also claimed that she knew little about Harry before their blind date, insisting she hadn't even looked him up online. But royal biographer Andrew Morton in Meghan, a Hollywood Princess, quotes a childhood friend saying Meghan was always fascinated by the royal family and wanted to be Princess Diana 2.0, and Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand, in Finding Freedom, which Meghan contributed to, wrote that Meghan and Harry both did a thorough Google search of each other before their first date. Another example, when Oprah asked about Meghan's half-sister Samantha's tell-all book, Meghan replied, "I think it would be very hard to tell all when you don't know me." She claimed she hadn't seen Samantha in 18 or 19 years, but Samantha told Inside Edition,
"We've got photographs over a lifespan of us together, so how can she not know me?"
By the time of their big interview, Meghan and Harry had already signed major deals with Spotify and Netflix. Even though they hadn't produced anything yet, they told Oprah that their move to America wasn't about pursuing TV and podcast projects.
The Netflix and the Spotify of it all, that was never part of the plan.
That statement was contradicted just weeks later by reports that the couple had held a series of meetings in 2019 with the now-defunct streaming service Quibi, arranged by Meghan's team in the U.S. In the end, the Duke and Duchess signed a reported $100 million deal with Netflix. It took a while before anything materialized, but their docu-series Harry and Meghan was finally released in December 2022. It was a huge hit, though possibly as a hate watch. By then, Meghan's image had taken a serious hit. The Guardian review even ran under the headline, "So sickening I almost brought up my breakfast," dismissing the show as a one-sided PR exercise. The series may have been an attempt to control the couple's narrative, but it didn't seem to work. By the end of the year, Meghan appeared in a Politico article alongside Donald Trump and Kanye West under the headline, "Is 2022 the year we all finally got over narcissists?" Any goodwill Meghan gained from the Oprah interview in America had mostly evaporated by the end of 2022. Her misleading claims had been debunked, her Netflix series panned, and her lone Spotify production Archetypes, a $20 million deal, landed with a thud. Newsweek summed it up with the headline, "Meghan Markle is losing America's sympathy."
I'm just excited to be myself and talk and be unfiltered.
Outlets once in Meghan's good graces were ready to get critical. In Variety, Andrew Wallenstein wrote, "At some point, even the dimmest of minds among their fans is going to tire of their 'oh, woe is us' routine. That's a tone-deaf message to be sending from their posh Montecito estate at a time of economic insecurity around the world." Another outlet she had favored, The Cut, wasn't afraid to poke fun either. Its August 2022 cover story, An Interview with Meghan, ended up as the site's most read article of the year. Author Allison P. Davis noted, "Meghan sometimes converses like she has a tiny bachelor producer in her brain directing what she says. At one point in our conversation, instead of answering a question, she will suggest how I might transcribe the noises she's making." And things only got worse in 2023. 2023 was a year of public embarrassment for Meghan. Jokes about Meghan's supposed desire for privacy had become a meme.
I think everyone has a basic right to privacy. Basic, right? And we're not talking about anything that anybody else wouldn't expect.
The release of Harry's book Spare in early 2023 only hurt their approval ratings since it seemed at odds with that message. To many, it felt strange that anyone seeking privacy would release intimate tell-all books and TV series about themselves. A February episode of South Park piled on, with the worldwide privacy tour mocking the couple as attention seekers desperate for privacy. Meghan's character on the show described herself as sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim, The Independent wrote at the time. It makes it clear that Harry and Meghan have turned themselves into a joke, both in their old home and their new one.
My love, I will do anything for your privacy.
By the third quarter of 2023, Meghan's favorability had dropped to just 32% among Americans, according to a YouGov poll. Alongside South Park, the harshest criticism of Meghan and Harry came from popular podcaster Bill Simmons, who is also Spotify's head of podcast innovation.
The grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
Meghan and Harry's time at Spotify apparently created some enemies and further soured the image they tried to repair with their Oprah interview. Vanity Fair delved into the production of Meghan's Archetypes podcast, portraying her as egocentric, mean, and irresponsible. A source told the magazine, "She's just very aware of where everybody is on her board, and when you are not in, you are to be thrown to the wolves at any given moment." In many ways, the Oprah interview marked the peak of Meghan's favorability in America, showing her at perhaps her most likable, but it also set a trap of her own making, with many of her claims left unsubstantiated. It revealed, too, that people seemed interested in Meghan only when the story is royal-related. The more Americans got to know her, the less they seemed to care. As a Daily Express headline from August 2025 put it, Meghan Markle disliked intensely in America. And Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, told Fox News, "She's disliked intensely by a large number of the monarchists in the UK. They see her as being very damaging to the royal family. And also, I think a lot of people in America feel the same. They don't like that Meghan reportedly dissed her husband's family and dissed her own family." David Christopher Kaufman even wrote in The Telegraph, "We Americans are fed up with Meghan Markle. It's time for Brits to take her back." That seems unlikely given the fraught relations between Meghan and the royal family. If she thought the UK press were hostile before, going back now would make that look like a walk in the park.